All right, the NFL's wild card weekend is upon us. We're going to go 4 downs with Chris and tackle a key matchup in each of this weekend's 4 playoff games. And Chris, let's start with the silver and black attack. The Raiders find themselves in the playoffs for the first time since 2002. The key matchup here we're going to talk about, well, it gets going 4:30 on Saturday against the Texans. It looks like it's going to be Brock Osweiler for the Texans against Connor Cook for the Raiders. Let's focus, though, on Osweiler against this Raiders D, especially Khalil Mack. They faced each other earlier this season. Mack had a real big game. Is Mack the key to, pushing this Raiders defense against Osweiler and the Texans?
Well, it's not just Khalil Mack, because the Texans will have a plan in terms of how to block Khalil Mack, but it's Bruce Irvin, the complimentary edge rusher opposite him, that's going to have to step up. Mario Edwards Jr., Danico Autry, those are the guys that are going to have to make a difference. The defense for the Oakland Raiders has to be able to take advantage of Osweiler's mistakes, create short fields for their team if they're going to have a chance to be successful.
Can the defense make up enough for the offensive inefficiencies that we expect from a rookie start his first playoff game?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was actually calling the game, the Raiders and the Broncos, last Sunday, New Year's Day, and when Matt McGlone was in, the offense couldn't manufacture any yardage, but when Connor Cook stepped in, the rookie showed me something. Some of the throws that he made, versus cover 2, being able to throw the ball in the hole between the corner and the safety to Amari Cooper, get the touchdown pass right there. There's something to the rookie Connor Cook. Now, he's going up against the #1 defense in the National Football League, so I'm a little hesitant about going ahead and saying that the Raiders are going to win this game, but I will say this. I think that the Texans-Oakland Raiders game is going to be a lot closer than people think.
Interesting. All right, that's the first game of the weekend. Second game of the weekend is Saturday night. That's out in Seattle, where the Seahawks are going to host the Lions in the NFC wild card game. Lions offense has really struggled lately. They're going against the defense in Seattle, still pretty strong after losing Earl Thomas. Can Matthew Stafford find some of that midseason magic against this Seattle defense?
Well, the Detroit Lions have played a lot of close ball games this year, so in the playoffs, all the games are going to be close. It's all about situational football, and can you take advantage and execute at the highest level when those situations present themselves? This is a team that doesn't panic when they're down late in ball games. If the Detroit Lions offensive line can give Matthew Stafford just a little bit of time to operate, he'll be able to find Marvin Jones, Golden Tate, and Eric Ebron. Those guys can be playmakers for him.
Let's move on to Sunday. Saturday, really just an appetizer to the main course on Sunday. 2 solid matchups that begin at 1 o'clock in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers host the Dolphins. This is a rematch, Chris, from Week 6 when the Dolphins pounded the Steelers behind 204 yards rushing from Jay Ajayi. Now let's focus on that matchup, Chris. How does Pittsburgh do a better job of containing Miami's running back?
Well, you know what? They've got to be great at being able to have that front 7, being able to play disciplined football, making sure that everybody's in their gap. It's going to have to be all guys, all hands on deck, all the guys on the front, being able to make sure that they do their job and stay at home, because Jay Ajayi is great at being able to use his vision and find the holes and the seams in the defense. And that offensive line does a really good job. Don't get enough credit. They do a great job of being able to create some space in the running game for Jay Ajayi to operate. So I think it's important that the Pittsburgh Steelers play much more disciplined than they did the last 2 weeks of the regular season when they gave up over 300 yards rushing.
All right, we're going to finish up the weekend with a real good one in the NFC up at Lambeau. Packers host the Giants at a place where Eli Manning and Big Blue have had a ton of playoff success. You know full well about that, yeah. Chris Canty. Basically, you have the hottest quarterback in the league in Aaron Rodgers against the hottest defense in the league in the Giants. Chris, when you look at this matchup, who has the edge in this ballgame?
Well, my heart says the New York Giants, my head says the Green Bay Packers, and here's why. When I look at what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball, there's no quarterback in the National Football League that's hotter than Aaron Rodgers right now. And on the defensive side of the ball, they've got 13 takeaways in the last 4 games. I mean, that's really, really impressive. The Packers are plus 13, so you're wondering how they've been able to put together this streak, Aaron Rodgers being able to go on this run that they've had. Well, the defense has really been a compliment to the offense, being able to create some short fields, and Aaron Rodgers has been great at being able to take advantage of that and score touchdowns and not settle for field goals.
All right, of course, out of the teams playing this weekend, there's 4 other teams not playing this weekend. The 2 teams in the NFC, 2 teams in the AFC both have byes, and one of those teams, Chris Canty, you have not given a whole lot of love for this season, and we have some evidence to prove that.
And then you look at the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, they started out hot. They were 5-1, but then they floundered. They only went to 8-8. These guys have struggled. They haven't necessarily done the things that you would expect division-leading teams to be able to do.
Can Atlanta take anything positive from this loss?
No.
If he goes to Denver, wins on the road at Mile High, I think elite is a given.
That's a big if.
Chris, would a win for Atlanta on the road in Seattle kind of put to bed all the doubters out there?
Yeah, it would put all the.
You were one of them. You were one of them,
I remain one of them. I'm not buying the Atlanta Falcons just yet.
We're talking about the number 2 seed in the NFC, home field in their first game, and they have a bye this week. Chris Canty, will you give the Atlanta Falcons any love at this point?
See, it all worked. It's kind of like that Phil Jackson motivational technique, right? With the Atlanta Falcons are the number 2 seed in the NFC. See, Atlanta Falcons fans, you see what I did for you guys this season? You should thank me, really.
So you like maybe the Falcons in the NFC Championship game?
I like the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, I like the way Dan Quinn has his football team playing, Matt Ryan on the offensive side of the ball. And then you look at defense, Vic Beasley has really come around. Their top 10 draft pick from a year ago. And it's really impressive to see what they're doing now. Even with the absence of Desmond Trufant, their defense is doing just enough to be able to help their offense be a complement, not a detriment. And so really like the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan played at an MVP-type level. So
did you just say that?
I did say it.
Matt Ryan for MVP. The campaign starts here.
MVP-type level. You can't deny. I mean, they've scored 540 points this season. You got to give them some love.